You know, we see them near ponds, we hear them croaking at night, but how much do we really know about the common frog? Well, today we are going right under the skin of this incredible creature to show you what an absolute marvel of evolutionary engineering it is. Let's dive in. So here's the thing about the frog. It truly lives a double life. It's just as comfortable in a freshwater pond as it is on the grassy bank next to it. So how in the world does a single animal master two completely different environments? That's the big question we're going to unravel today, as we explore its amazing anatomy from the outside in. All right, first up, let's look at the basic survival strategies that allow the frog to thrive in a world that's always changing. This is where you see its behavior and its biology working together just perfectly. To get started, you have to know that frogs are poikilotherms. Now, that's a fancy way of saying they're cold-blooded. Unlike you and me, they can't make their own body heat. Their internal temperature just matches whatever their surroundings are. And you might think that's a disadvantage, but it's actually a brilliant energy-saving trick for an animal living on the edge of two worlds. You know, a lot of times the key to survival is just not being seen in the first place. And frogs, they're absolute masters of this. They use camouflage, literally changing their skin color to blend right in with the grass or mud. Some even take it a step further with what's called mimicry, making themselves look like toxic animals to scare off predators. It is their first and probably their best line of defense. So what about when it gets super hot or freezing cold? Well, frogs have a genius solution for that too. During the peak of summer, they go into something called estivation. It's kind of like a summer sleep. In the dead of winter, they hibernate. For both, they just dig down into deep burrows and slow their bodies way, way down, basically hitting the pause button until things get better outside. Okay, so now let's talk about the outside of the frog. Its body is pretty much a high-tech amphibious survival suit, where every single feature is perfectly designed for that dual life we talked about. So let's break down this toolkit piece by piece. First, that skin. It's always smooth and moist because frogs don't drink water like we do, they just absorb it right through their skin. Then you've got those big, bulging eyes. They have a special clear eyelid called a nictitating membrane that slides across and acts like built-in swim goggles. And see that circular spot right behind the eye? That's its eardrum, the tympanum. Finally, you've got the limbs, and they're specialized too. Shorter forelimbs for propping themselves up, and those super powerful webbed hind limbs for incredible leaps and really strong swimming. So that's the high-tech exterior. But what's powering it all from the inside? Let's pop the hood and take a look at the frog's incredible internal engine. This is where you can really see the frog's adaptability. When it's underwater, it breathes through its skin, pulling dissolved oxygen right out of the water. That's called cutaneous respiration. But as soon as it's on land, it just switches gears and starts using a pair of simple sac-like lungs. I mean, it's the perfect example of having two different systems for two completely different worlds. And fueling this whole operation is a really well-developed circulatory system. Its heart is a 3-chambered marvel. It's got 2 atria and 1 ventricle. Now, it's not quite as complex as our 4-chambered heart, but this design is incredibly efficient at pumping blood and nutrients everywhere they need to go, powering that super active lifestyle. Frogs are carnivores, so they have a short and super efficient digestive system that's built to process meat. Food gets snagged by that famous sticky, forked tongue, then it travels down to the stomach. After the intestines pull out all the nutrients, all the waste goes out through a single, all-purpose exit called the cloaca. You can think of it as a combined utility chute for the digestive, urinary, and reproductive systems all in one. All right, next up, let's look at the advanced systems that manage everything from, waste disposal to making the next generation of frogs. Getting rid of waste efficiently is absolutely crucial. Frogs have a pair of kidneys that filter the blood, and they turn the waste into something called urea. This is a really clever way to get rid of nitrogen waste without losing a ton of water. And of course, all of this waste gets sent out through that multi-purpose exit, the cloaca. So, what's running this whole show? Well, that would be a highly evolved nervous system. The frog has a central brain and a spinal cord, and they're connected to a whole network of nerves. This system processes all the information from its senses: sight, smell, taste, touch, hearing. It's like a sophisticated onboard computer coordinating every single leap, every catch, and every croak. Okay, now for a number that is just staggering. 3,000. What is that? That's about how many eggs a single female frog can lay at one time. It's a strategy of pure numbers to make sure the next generation survives. And each of those eggs kicks off one of the most magical transformations in all of nature. Fertilization happens right there in the water. Out of the egg hatches a tadpole, a tiny swimming larva that breathes with gills. Then, through this incredible process called metamorphosis, it completely remodels itself. It grows legs, it absorbs its tail, and it develops lungs, until it finally emerges as an adult frog. Just amazing. So we've seen just how incredible the frog's body is, but why should we care? Let's zoom out for a second and see the huge role this little amphibian plays in the world all around us. Here's the bottom line. Frogs are incredibly beneficial. They eat a ton of insects, so they act as natural pest control, which helps protect our crops. They're also a critical link in the food web. They eat things and they get eaten, which helps keep the whole ecosystem in balance. And, yeah, in many parts of the world, people even eat them as a source of food. When it's all said and done, the frog is really a living testament to the power of adaptation. Every single part of its body is a perfectly tuned solution to the challenge of living between two worlds. And it kind of leaves us with a fascinating question. If this small amphibian can engineer such perfect solutions for its own survival, what can it teach us about resilience and adaptation in our own rapidly changing world?